Welcome to our podcast, Inspiring Living, with me, Mark Candelaria. I am an architect, blogger, traveler, chef, father, and husband. I am the founder and now partner of a fabulous 20-person architecture firm specializing in high-end residential architecture, designing amazing homes across the country. We have hosted tours over the last 20 years to Italy, Spain, and soon Napa. And in the course of all this, I have met a lot of interesting people who truly inspire me. We are excited to now be in our second season, and our podcast is about all the opportunities that are right there in front of us to inspire living. Yes, we will talk about architecture and design, but every week we will venture to all sorts of topics that will inspire you, teach you, and motivate you to inspire living every day. My guests will include a wide gamut of amazing people, from those in the design industry to clients to real estate professionals, chefs, artists, sports figures, and philanthropists, and people who just flat out get it. So sit back and enjoy, and let's have some fun exploring all the opportunities that are there just waiting for us. Please subscribe and get ready to be inspired every week. Okay, as my dad says, here we go. Welcome, everyone, and thank you always for tuning into our podcast. It's a beautiful Saturday, and I hope everyone had a fabulous Thanksgiving. We had a wonderful dinner at Isabel's mom's home, where she prepared the entire meal. My mom and dad were there, along with my daughter Tiffany, and we had a very nice afternoon and a very, very tasty meal. It was great to spend some nice, quiet family time and just be all together. So thankful and so grateful for all of them. Okay, a couple quick announcements. We have sold out our Oregon tour set for May of next year, and we have an amazing group going, so we are very excited about that. Thanks to all of you who have signed up. You are all in for one amazing adventure. Okay, today's podcast features a very interesting lady who also is an amazing chef and blogger. Today I have Giangi, Townsend, who I met on Instagram, where I became a big follower. Her blog and website are fantastic and such a great resource with thousands of followers. And now with this podcast, I have really come to know her, and you will too. Without further ado, here is Giangi Townsend. Our guest today is Giangi Townsend, creator of Giangi's Kitchen, a top-rated food and recipe blog. Her desire as a working mom is to provide healthy and delicious food for her family, which has since grown into a full-blown business featuring tons of recipes, an online shop, virtual cooking classes, and her favorite cookbooks, including one of her own. Welcome, Giangi.
Well, thank you so very much, Mark, for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here this morning.
Well, I know we tried to do this about a week ago, but you're a little under the weather, but you look great today.
Allergies are just the worst thing right now. So.
You're preaching to the choir on that one, so I know all about allergies. But it's great to have you here, and we picked a beautiful day. We're just sitting here looking at the view and enjoying, getting ready for the holidays.
Absolutely, and it's very beautiful, and we're fortunate to live in Arizona, that's for sure.
We are definitely fortunate to live in Arizona. I love it here. So, okay, so I discovered you. I either discovered you on Instagram, or I'm pretty sure that's where I found you.
Okay, I am on Instagram, but you also built a house right across the street from me, and we met
on the street.
On the street, as a matter
That's
of fact.
right.
I introduced myself
I
to you.
remember that now. That's
it
right.
It was late at night, though, and it was dark, and you guys were working nonstop in
Yep.
a beautiful, iconic house.
The iconic house, that's right.
That's right. So I get to admire it every day. So
that's
yes,
cool.
and between the years, we have been socially involved, I think.
Well, it's nice to finally physically meet you, other than the one time on the street really
That's
quick.
right.
So
yes,
that's
nice
awesome.
meeting
That's
you.
right. You totally remember that. That's good memory. Okay, so you grew up with a French dad and an Italian mom and spent summers working at your grandparents' gelateria. How do you say that?
Gelateria. Actually,
Gelateria.
my mom and dad had a gelateria. We had a nightclub. We had a tennis court. We had little boats on the beach. And I was in Pescara, in the south part, actually literally across the way from Rome on the Adriatic Sea.
Okay.
So we had that when I was little. So I spent my winters in Paris studying, living with my dad. And then in the summertime, that's where we did. We had a gelateria, which is an Italian ice cream maker.
I know what they are. I just don't know how to say it properly. But
That's all right.
That's my first stop whenever I go to Italy is, okay, where's the gelato?
Yes.
And I've got my favorite ones in Rome, in Florence. I know exactly where they all are in every little town.
And if you ever go to Sicily, the best of the best.
Okay, so I've not been to Sicily yet. You're about the third person that's told me to go to Sicily in the last 24 hours. So God is definitely speaking to me.
There is a thing there then.
Yes.
You have to.
So I'm excited about this. So what a great combination between France and Italy. I mean, how could you not become a chef?
Actually, I'm a great on eating. I was excellent on eating when I was little, and it's we take food differently in Europe, as you know, because we
Right.
travel so much. So we just do little things differently. We take food. Food is not just to eat, but it's to enjoy, and it's
Right.
part of the atmosphere of a family. There's a family involved. So yes, I had a lot of that growing up, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed eating a lot more than people think.
Yeah, well, that's part of the whole culture, and that's the thing that I think I'm seeing. I'm seeing more and more of that happening in America. I mean, it's gotten a lot better in the last, I'd say, 10, 15 years, and I think it's a combination of all the cooking channels, and I mean, people are more into the experience of eating food than just grab a quick meal and let's get on the road and we're out of here.
There has been, and I see it on my own world of blogging. I've seen there is a switch going on. The switch is food has been family has become a lot more important than it was before, but also food has become more important because of our travels. All of us travel the world. There is an extension out there of what we know of our little world. So by standing out and visiting, then we bring
Those
that
things back.
thing back to us, which
Yeah.
is one of the things that's what we're seeing in our food world.
Right. And again, it's not just the recipe, it's the experience of enjoying that recipe and how you do it and how you set the table. And are you eating al fresco? Are you eating inside? And, I see with my clients, I mean, there's so many clients that want to, do we need a dining room? And now, for maybe, I don't know, since COVID, I guess I would say, people go, no, we don't need a dining room. We'll just eat at the island. And all of a sudden, I look at your expression. I know, right? And so now, though, since COVID, I am seeing people, no, we need the dining room. We need it with French doors that open to the garden and blah, blah. People have rediscovered the dining room.
There is a room in my house which is called a breakfast nook. And that's what it is, a breakfast nook.
Right.
Our dining room, which I have an antique 200-year-old old farm dining room, you will love. I'd love
That
for you
sounds
to see
awesome.
it. And it's amazing. We have dinner there every night. I
Yeah.
have candlelight dinner every night. And we have music if we can. But it's the best place because when you eat in the kitchen, it's a stop and go.
Yeah,
But when
it's
you
quick.
eat at your dining room table, the conversations are just absolutely wonderful. I mean, with our son, we sit there at the kitchen if we have to have a quick dinner. 5 minutes, he's at the door.
Right.
Dining room, an hour and a half later, we're still at the table, which
Yeah.
is that quality time spent to it. But no, you got to eat. I'm dining room, hands down, the only place where you have to have dinner. That's it. And lunch if you can.
No, I love that. And it's so true. I've noticed that when I'm in Italy, a dinner lasts 3 hours sometimes.
Oh, yes.
And no one's in a rush. Everyone's just having such a good time. And when we do dinners here at our house, it's the same thing. I mean, we'll have dinners that'll last 4, 5, 6 hours. And people are just having a fantastic time connecting, talking, telling stories. And, that's to me is what the human experience is. And again, we're all rushing to the finish line. Why don't we slow down and enjoy life a little bit and enjoy each other's company?
Absolutely. And by eating at the table, not only you're bringing yourself, your love to it,
Right.
but you also the respect of others.
Right.
And there is a unity who comes in within that. And I think one of my mottos and one of the things that you and I discussed a little bit earlier, it was we are all different, but when it comes to food, we're all united.
Yeah.
Because we all share that bond, that sitting down. And it is the most, our kids grow so fast. I mean, you
Yeah.
have couple of girls.
Three
and
girls.
3 girls. I have a boy who's 18,
Yep.
who's going to be gone next year.
Oh, it goes fast from 18 on.
Oh, it goes fast from the time they're born, pretty much. So
Yeah.
and so I really love those moments that we spend at the table, sitting down, even if it's the two of us.
Yeah.
Sit down and talk,
Right.
and it's really feeds your soul.
Yeah. Well, what you'll find now that my daughters are, my oldest is going to be 34 in a couple days, is they remember those memories.
Absolutely.
And they may not seem that interested at the time when they're 18, but when they're 34, they go, Dad, I used to love when we'd go camping or we'd have this dinner. And they remember all those things,
And my son actually does the same thing with his friends. He invites his friends
Yeah.
over for dinner, and the table is all set, and the silverware, and the this, and the that, and the other, and he just go,
It's really fun.
"Yep, check mark. I
Yeah.
did my job as a mom."
Totally. So apparently you like to bake.
I used to love to bake very, very much so, and I'm finding myself more and more baking. I don't know how I
Yeah.
got to that part. Yes.
I'm kind of getting into baking again. I did for a little bit, and then I got out of it. Baking to me is science.
It is a pure science. Cooking hits your artistic
Yeah,
side.
you can be free and you can do things. With
Yeah.
baking, you gotta
You
you
gotta
gotta be
follow.
precise.
Absolutely, because you can go from a angel hair cake to a hockey puck in like in a second. If you put too much flour, if you don't let it levitate, or the eggs are too cold, and the butter, it's just amazing. So it's really there is a lot more into it. So you really have to be more stable in what you're
Right.
doing.
So in France, did you do a lot of cooking when you were little?
Not one thing, but I found I burned water.
Nothing, huh?
Nothing.
You had no interest.
Absolutely none.
Now, why is that?
Well, I had a fantastic dad who absolutely loved to cook, so I was not going to take that away from him. And also, I was raised by him, and I had all the other chores, and I was going to school. And
The last thing you wanted to do was
the
cook.
last thing I wanted to do was to sit there and cook. And the French are, my dad makes best French fries you ever had. It was fantastic. So I was not going to take it away from him, but I sat there. The only thing I did, my only kitchen duty, was peel potatoes. So that was something that I did every night or every other night, and clean the salad. That was it. But the rest of it, I wouldn't touch it.
That's interesting. So who taught you to bake?
My grandmother.
Your
My
grandmother.
She would put ingredient out. Same with my mom too.
Yeah.
She was very good, and she would put.
You're my second podcast where the chef was taught by his grandmother.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And, because they're different. And my grandmother never had a cookbook,
Right.
and she would reverse a recipe. So she would sit there, eat something, and in her mouth dictate exactly what was in the ingredient.
Wow.
She will come home and literally replicating it. It was fascinating. And now you travel Italy, so the desserts are not just a pound cake. And she was just unbelievable this
Yeah,
morning.
that's really cool. So when did you first get passionate about cooking? You obviously said you didn't like to cook when you were little. So how did this all of a sudden happen?
Well, it happens very out of something side. My grandmother passed away, and she raised me a lot of it when I was growing up. So she was really like my mom, and I took a year off. I needed to take a year off. I really took it bad. So I decided within that year to learn how to garden, to do pottery, and to teach myself how to cook. And that's how it started.
How old were you?
I was 29.
Okay.
Yeah, so I decided to take a cookbook, and that's why I found out why so many people are frightened to cook, because of the cookbooks out there. They're hard to read, some of them. So I went through quite a few, and so I finally found a few that are very easy to follow.
Yep.
And I pick up from there, and so I started a recipe and invited my friends, and my friends came over. They loved it, and then 2 weeks later, I decided another one, and another one, and another one, and then I realized that my girlfriend's husband wanted to come more than my girlfriend. I was like, oops.
Well, that went astray.
Yeah, I was like, oops. But no, I mean, I was really honored, because we were a couple, 8 people.
Yep.
And 4 couples, and they really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed cooking for them because they were all very honest. Okay, needs a little bit more of this, a little.
Yeah, it's nice when people give you honest feedback.
Exactly. It wasn't like, oh, it was excellent, then go, oh my goodness, what did she do?
That's scary, isn't it?
Well, I actually did that with my husband. I cooked while we were dating. I was cooked something, and he literally took it and couldn't wait for me to leave the door and just put it in the garbage.
Oh gosh, that's funny.
But it's true.
Yeah. Well, I've had my experiments go awry sometimes, and it's like, okay, this is not good. We're not doing this. And luckily, I've had a few times where I've tried a recipe new with a large group of people, and so far I've been very lucky. It's worked out, but it is very stressful.
It is.
Like,
Oh, it's crazy.
I know. I shouldn't do that, but because I know eventually my luck's not going to be in my favor. But so far, it's worked out well. Now I've got a good repertoire of dishes, so I don't do that too often anymore.
Okay, good, because sometimes it's very hard. I mean, I have done that, and I look at my friends, okay, what's next?
It's scary. It is stressful. I mean, a couple weeks ago, we had a dinner at the office for the Iconic House, not the Iconic magazine, and as we were cooking in our new kitchen at the Candelaria offices, apparently I had everything going, and it blew a circuit breaker. And I've got 20 people in the conference room waiting for dinner, and I'm on the second course, and everything goes dark.
Ouch.
And so we were luckily able to figure out how to get the breaker back on and turn off a few things so I could stage it just right. But talk about instant stress. You know,
I feel your pain right
Oh,
now.
my God,
I
that was-
really feel
that was
your
so
pain,
stressful.
because you just got 20 people to feed.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So when did you start your recipe blog? Because it is fantastic. I think that's how I discovered you, was either on Instagram or your blog. But your blog is laid out so beautifully. I love just looking at it. I can sometimes just sit there and daydream going through your blog. It's fantastic.
Well, thank you so very much. It started really as I had very good friends, and every night, what's for dinner? So I said, oh, for this and that. So I decided one time, it's like, I have had just about enough of both of you. I'm going to do a blog just for the two of you. And so I did. I just went down for press. I put it all together.
Now, when was this? How long ago?
It was exactly going to be 12 years ago
Good
in
for you.
February. So, yes, I started and not knowing one iota about an iota. It was
Right.
just something that I was doing from friends. And next thing you know, it's just snowballed and snowballed. So 3 years ago, then I redid the page myself. And it was just, and then 3 years ago, I turned it over to a wonderful firm to do it. That's how I want it. I wanted it clean. I don't want it too much mess.
Right.
And I want it easy, so they redid it for me, and it has been fabulous because I have met and experienced so much happiness, but I've met the most wonderful people you will ever imagine, to the point of a chef, which is a Michelin accredited chef, because of my blog.
Yeah, it's cool,
was
isn't
just
it?
like, wow. Oh, it's unbelievable, amazing. People, it's a different world.
Yep.
It's very fast-paced. You always have to be on it, learning, opening up to new things. But
Yeah.
once you're in it, it drags you in, and you build a family out there, then you have no idea.
Yeah, and it's endless.
It's endless.
That's the other thing I always love. It's just, you can go forever.
You can go forever. Your creativity. I mean, I have
Yep.
followers since the beginning, and they're still sending me little thank you note. They still send me Happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you create a culture.
You really do.
Yep.
Matter of fact, it's I think one of the top moment of my life was when I used to travel a lot. I'm getting back at it. thank
Trying.
heaven.
We're all trying.
Oh, I don't care. I'm back at it.
I know. It's awful, isn't it?
Oh, it is, and with this,
I know.
it's insane, and I feel sorry for the people who really have gone through it
Yeah.
more harder than we have.
Yep.
So I was down. I went to the Barge Al Arab in Dubai.
Wow.
We had nice cocktail on the top, most farthest point out of the top bridge, and then we were having dinner. We had dinner on the bottom, which is this huge aquarium around the
Oh,
room,
I
and
think I've
all
seen that.
oh yes, and all the table are around it, and no table look at each other,
Wow.
which was fantastic. We had a 5-meal with wine pairing dinner. Fantastic.
Wow.
So I wrote about it on my blog. Next thing you know, it's like, hey, oh my goodness, I mentioned it. So, like I said, it was the beginning of my journey. So I decided, well, I'm going to send them a little email and say, hey guys, I did this. Is that okay with you? They just loved it.
Yeah.
And they're still following me from the beginning.
That's so
they're
cool.
still my followers, which is like, ooh.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I mean, I think people love when you write about them, when we blog about them, when you podcast about them. It's a great way just to form a long-lasting connection, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Same thing with my chef Eliane and down in Cannes.
Yeah.
Her and I, we were talking. She shared a recipe with me. I made it, gave her credit. Next thing you know, she gets a phone call from this huge company, and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Now she's a Michelin accredited. She opened her cooking school up in Amsterdam, when she's originally from. She invited me. I mean, when I went to Cannes, I finally met her after 8 years.
Isn't that crazy?
And she let me taught a class. I said,
That's
okay,
cool.
sit down, teach a class. Next thing you know, I'm in Amsterdam with her 3 years ago, and she's like opened her kitchen or home to me, and she sat there and taught me everything she knew.
Isn't that great?
For my classes, it was like surreal.
Yeah,
surreal.
that's what happens when you get out there and
Yeah.
kind of make things happen. So many people just love to just sit on the couch and do nothing. You got to get out there and do things, and you never know where it's going to lead or take you.
Exactly. I mean, I have a weekly YouTube videos that I'm doing with this chef
Good for
in
you.
England. And it's kind of fascinating, Mark, because her and I met at Google Plus. So you've been around
Yep.
the internet, so long time ago, we met there. We grew a friendship, and then that shut down overnight. Therefore, we lost touch. And next thing you know, her and I, we are met in Facebook. I mean,
Wow.
there's 2 billion people on
Yeah,
Facebook.
Yep. But there you are.
There we are. So now she's in England, I'm here, and we do things together.
Yeah, I got to check that out. That sounds like fun.
It's hilarious because we do a very small little things, and she's from Singapore, so she's got that very Asian
Yeah.
fusion, Malaysia,
Oh, that's fun.
Singapore influence to it, and I
Yep.
have the French Italian, which is perfect because so people get the 2 variations of
Yeah.
cooking. It's like wow.
That's very good. So when you grew, how long were you in Paris or in France and Italy?
20 years.
20 years.
I
And then,
moved.
and then tell me how you got here.
I came here on vacation and I never went back.
Oh, interesting. Arizona?
No,
or?
actually, I started in California. I was
Okay.
in the Bay Area for 14 years, and then I moved here.
Now, why did you go there?
My mom was there, so I went to
Okay.
vacations, and then I stayed.
Okay.
And then I came down here. I was married. I came down. Actually, I came down here. Met my husband. Let me back up. Met my husband in the Bay Area. Moved down here, and I've been here since '94.
Wow. Nice.
So I saw this town really grow.
Yeah. I've been here since 79. So I've really seen it change. And it's changed a lot just in the last, like I said, the last 10 years.
The last 10 years. I mean, I remember when
Yeah.
there was Beersley, there was no
Yeah,
101.
No.
51 wasn't finished.
Nope. Yeah, I
No.
remember when I-17 was the only freeway.
That's right. And 10 was just down there.
Yeah, it kind of reconnected somewhere out towards LA, but you couldn't drive it the whole way. So yeah, this town has changed a lot, and it's interesting to see, how it's going to keep changing.
Absolutely.
It's a great city, and I hear it from a lot of people that live in other places, and they come here and they go, "God, this is such a great city." I mean, it's not that little, but it has a little feel to it. It has a little town feel to it. To me,
it does. And you know what the another wonderful thing is? This little town of ours has the top chefs in all United States.
You knew where I was going next, didn't you?
No, because you and I are on the same mind flaking. We're freaking food here.
Well,
so
the food scene here has just exploded in the last 10 years, I think.
Oh, it's insane. Matter of fact, Giada De Laurentiis is going to be opening a restaurant down here.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, she is.
Well, she's one of my faves.
But of course, we have Tarbell, but we also have, Scott Conan with Guy Fieri comes in all the
That's
time.
cool.
I don't know how many times he has come down here, and every time he talks about a restaurant, they just go out of proportion. But I think a couple of years ago, I was doing a book review of the 35 top chefs in the United States, all year in Phoenix.
Wow.
It was awesome.
That's
It's
great.
just amazing. We have food for every single taste.
Yeah.
And we are very hard also in our restaurant too, having more than anybody else. Our critiques are and we have our town people love to eat here.
Yeah, they do. Well,
they do.
it's a lot of fun.
It is.
So you are a full-time cook and blogger now. Is that true?
Yep.
That's your profession?
That's my profession. I'm a full-time blogger.
And have you monetized that in some way? Have you figured out how to do that?
Oh, absolutely.
Good for you. That's so amazing.
Yes.
So a lot of it is just sticking with it, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, you have to have good content, but you also have to be consistent.
You have to be consistent. You have to stay focused. You have to be grounded, and you have to literally learn every day.
Yeah.
I mean, there is not everything changes. We work on the internet at the speed of light,
Right.
and our job is to grow at the speed of light also.
Right.
So there is a Q-level recipe, but the recipe is just maybe like 1% of it. The rest of it is all the SEOs and the tag words and the this and the that and the photography, which can take 3 days sometimes to
The
do.
photography is important, isn't it?
But you eat with your eyes.
Right.
I mean, when you look at a bookmark,
Right.
what do you first see?
Yeah, I see the pictures.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't care what the recipe look like.
No.
You see the pictures.
Right.
So that's what it is. People eat with their eyes. So you have to give that. So it is a lot of work. I mean, sometimes it can take a week to do a recipe, and then you have to write it. And
Yeah.
it is. I love it. I mean,
No, I know. I
seriously,
get
it's
it.
different.
I'm working on my book right now, which is 12 of my most recent houses that I like. They're my favorites, and 12 recipes to go with each house. And so, the photography of the houses is important. The photography of the dishes is important. It's hard.
It is hard because
Yeah.
sometimes I could be sitting there and I have a dish and you have to prepare a story with the dish.
Right.
You can put a dish there, doesn't say anything,
Right.
but you have to put things around it, but
Right.
not then to distract from it.
Right.
And then you can be taking 100 pictures and have 2 good, or
Yeah.
some days you take 20 and 19 are perfect. So
It's weird.
it's weird, and so I built a little studio in my house just for that, bought the lens and all the stuff.
for
and
you.
I had to because it's a
so
lot.
important.
It's important. The light is important.
Yep.
And your mode is important too.
Oh, absolutely.
And nobody around.
You're saying all the things I've learned.
Yes.
It's totally true. So what kind of dishes and recipes did you focus on in the beginning, and what will visitors to your blog find now?
When I started, it was what we had that night for dinner. That was simple. And I am not a complicated person. I like, I have a focus in my little niche is families because I was always a working mom. I traveled a lot, and I was also working all the time. So I wanted to make sure that my son had very good meals every night. So I made sure that all my recipes were short recipes, easy recipe. And pretty much I opened the refrigerator, what's for dinner tonight? That's exactly how it all started. And then,
Right.
of course, because of my French background and Italian background, say, what can I derive from that with what is in my refrigerator? And so that's how it all started. And then when I kind of went, and it was, when I started, it was a hobby, okay? It was nothing
Right.
grandiose. And so that's how it got started, but that's how people kind of liked it. Because like, hey, she's having this with it, she's having this with
Right.
it, she's having this with it. So it just snowballed, and now it's more focused, like more seasonal. But I actually changed it a little bit more. I am more taking old French recipes and making it to mainstream.
Interesting.
Just because
Adapting that
Adapt
knowledge
it,
to what we
exactly.
currently have
Yeah.
and can do.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
also because I have a lot of followers from all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to make it with the ingredients, then they are easy to find because I travel, and I love to do markets.
Yeah.
So I see what they have, and so I try to make my recipes that are matching what you found all over the world. And also, so let's face it, there's a lot of family that are single family,
Yeah.
single
Absolutely.
parents. They can't afford to pay $20 worth of herbs for a dinner
Right.
one night. It's just not.
doesn't make
heard of.
sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. So
Yeah.
how can we do
But there's
that?
such a benefit to cooking for yourself in terms of you know what the ingredients are, you know what's going in there. It can be made so much more healthier for you, and that's the part that Isabel and I love. We'll go out and we love to dine out, but we just love eating at home, and it's quiet and it's peaceful, and we know exactly what the ingredients are, and
Exactly.
so
I do the same. Matter of fact, tonight I'm going to have, I'm going to turn the leftover turkey into a shepherd's pie
oh nice.
because I have some leftovers. This is the last night we're going to have turkey. But it's true. It's absolutely true, Mark. When you know what you put inside
Right.
of your body, you know what you're eating
Right.
versus going out.
Yeah.
So
Yep. And I know the chefs out there like to cheat with a lot of sugar and lots of things that, we don't always need, but it does make it taste really good.
Exactly, and I try to stay away from all that. I mean, I also have degenerating arthritis and RA, so my diet is very like what does not stimulate. And I've been out of medication for example. I'm not
Good
a
for
believer in
you.
medication, but that's my personal choice. Okay,
Yeah.
people understand this is my doing
Right.
with my doctor's
Right.
blessing to it, and I modified all my diet
Yeah.
because of it.
And you
it's-
can do that when you cook for yourself.
Exactly. And even when I go out, I'm not picky.
Right.
But I just say, okay, I know that's going to why.
Right. Exactly. So your blog is amazing. And so is your website, and it's filled with a plethora of information and lots of recipes. So tell us of your experience with blogging in general. I mean, you told us a little bit, but
It has been a surreal experience. It's something that I think when people ask me, what would you suggest, new bloggers, what would your advice?
Yeah.
I say, do your own thing. Don't look at others. Do you.
right.
Be you. Be true to you and do it from the heart.
And that's be informative, doesn't it?
Very.
Yeah.
Very. It's just do it from the heart. Once you do it from your heart, everything it's different. And people feel it. If
Right.
you're just sitting there just to spill out,
Regurgitating information.
people know it because, let's face it, everybody reads blogs day in and day out. And we are on the internet all day long.
Yeah.
Trust me, somebody will just know, oh,
Yeah.
I read this somewhere.
Yeah.
So make it yours and just be real to yourself, but make it very easy.
Yeah.
Easy for people to read
And
too.
connecting. Yeah.
And if you speak from your heart, people will know it right away.
So how often do you post a blog?
I try to do 2 to 3 new recipes a week.
That's good.
That's a lot of work. I'm cutting it down to a little bit too, because it's between all the I do all the social media too, so it's a little bit.
Whew, you are busy.
I am busy, but it's a lot of legwork. But
Yeah.
I
But you probably have a system.
I do have a very crazy system.
Mm-hmm.
I have found out throughout the years great program to assist me. I actually have a VA.
Yeah.
She's in Washington, D.C., who does all my pin interests for me. I have to,
Wow.
because that's a different ball game.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't want to even get involved to it. So I do all my Twitters, I do all my Facebook and LinkedIn and all the other social
Crazy.
media that I do. That I do it myself because that's a lot of fun. And so I do the same thing with sharing my recipes. So I so twice, 2 to 3 times. I also redo old blogs who have not been sitting there for 10 years.
That's what we're starting to do, is just pull some of that old content. And it's great. You read it, and then I write about, what's happened since I've posted that.
Absolutely.
And it's fun. It's fun to see how the story plays out.
Absolutely. When I did this, to be really truly honest, when I started Giangi's Kitchen, it was to leave something for my son. And it just started from there. So it was our life story, how it started. And I still have some of those blogs on the blog side of it. Nobody reads it. I don't care if nobody goes to it. But it was something like that. I was here with him, and I experienced that personal, that moment in lifetime.
That's cool.
So that's how it all kind of, on that personal aspect.
Yep. That's great. Now, your website also offers a shop of other cookbooks you recommend, and cooking appliances, gadgets. I mean, it's the full plethora of cooking extravaganza, really.
Well, people come to me all the time. What do you suggest? What you recommend? And it's, this is what I use. And I only recommend products and I work only with companies that I truly believe, because I receive so much stuff. Would you like to talk about my pan? Talk about this. Give me this. And I'm like, I have to send product back. I'm like, this is nice. But trust me, I will not use it if my life depended on it. And I feel bad telling him that, but it's like,
got to be honest.
Got to be honest.
That's
I can't put my name on it because it's my name.
Yeah.
I worked hard for who I am.
Exactly. So tell us about your cookbook, Back to Basics Cooking 101.
Okay, what it is for anybody who has looked at the kitchen, has this black hole.
Right.
Who looks at it and goes, oh my gosh, I'm going to the restaurant.
Yeah.
So I'm teaching you how to be into your kitchen. I'm teaching you what you need. If you just started, you don't need to go out and give your credit card and be in debt for 3 years. This is what you need. This is the sets of knife. You only need 5 knives. This is the difference between this spot, and this spot, And so I'm helping them kind of set up their kitchen, but I'm also helping them how to use the knife, the property of food.
Just getting the basics started.
Exactly. How your pantry needs to be fulfilled, what you need to put in there, the substitutions of ingredients. So if your recipe says this, but you don't have it, you can substitute with that. So it's a little bit taking the fear out of the kitchen and putting right back into, I can do this.
Right. So what is your favorite beginner's recipe? If I was just starting the first day, I just got all my little gadgets and things that you told me to get, what would be the recipe that you would tell them to make?
Okay, I think the first thing to do is pasta al pomodoro, because you can't miss that.
Sounds good right now, actually.
You just take your pasta, you boil it, and then you take fresh tomatoes and you squish and you put it in with a little bit of garlic. A fresh garlic, don't smash it, just put it in on the oil, take the garlic out, put the fresh tomato, salt and pepper. That's perfect.
You're done.
You're done. A simple salad with a vinaigrette, which is 3 ingredients: salt, oil, and vinegar. Boom, that's it.
Yep.
You do that. And then you can move on from there to actually chicken. You cannot kill chicken too much, so you cannot overcook it. So that's an easy thing. Put it in the oven. A lot of people are petrified to cook fish. Well, I have a YouTube video with just 30 seconds, and it's unbelievable how fast you can cook it. And you just prepare a little oil in the...
Doesn't take much.
Nothing much. I mean, very easy recipes, And actually, quite frankly, I have a recipe that I was petrified to do for years. It's rack of lamb. I love rack of lamb, but I was always scared to make it until this day I decided to make it, and I kicked myself to this day.
Yeah, it's not that difficult.
30 minutes later, you got a beautiful rack of lamb persillade on your table, and you just go, why not have I made that before? So you take, your own fear out. So.
Yeah, exactly. So so we just talked about the beginner side. What about for that chef that loves to cook? Let's just say I love to cook. What would be a recipe you would inspire me to do on the more complicated side?
Coq au vin.
Ooh, I've never made that.
See, a coq au vin, dont my friend
We were just talking about Jacques Pepin's cookbook.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, instead of red wine, use white wine.
See, and that's interesting because I have done that with many recipes where they'll say red wine and I'll flip it. I'll use white wine, and it has a totally different flavor, but it's fantastic.
Well, this my friend Eliane taught me how to do that, and it's absolutely to die for. It's a different consistency to it. Scallops with the corn cream.
Ooh.
To die for. Let me see what else. top of my head right now. I can't think. Rack of lamb, of course, but you know already how to make that. Is the
there's
full
different
rack.
varieties on it. What you can do with it.
But it's amazing because
Herbs and I mean, it's endless.
yes, it is endless. You
Yep.
know, and panko is one of those great things. You know, for the persillade, for anything a crust, use some of panko versus all breadcrumbs. Makes a completely different because
Interesting.
it's stayed more solidified.
Yeah, and I've been, my wife Isabel is gluten free, so we're always trying to find really good gluten free breadcrumb. We have found some, and we've found some great stuff that we can adapt for her recipes. That are fantastic.
Perfect. See,
So-
and it's just amazing. And what else? What else? What else? I can't think of the top of my head right now.
No, there's millions. So let's see. So who are some of your favorite chefs, and what are some of your favorite cooking shows? I always love asking people like you that question. I mean, I've got my favorites. I'm curious to who your favorites are.
My favorites, well, Julia Child, of course, because she
Yep.
brought cooking back to the United States.
Yeah,
And so
I remember my mom. I remember watching it when I was a little kid. My mom would have her on. Her and the Galloping Gourmet.
absolutely, and she was just fabulous because but she took it down a notch. She made it fun because
Right.
At the time French cooking was stiff, and
Yes.
well, like
The
us French.
uppity, yes.
Excuse me. I'm sure I have all
You
my
really going to try to cook this? What is wrong with you?
Ça va pas, non? So that, and then Jacques Pepin was my favorite.
Oh yeah, he's like I told you, he's still one of my favorites. I love watching him on Instagram with his daughter, and
Claudine,
he's just
yes.
they're just so he looks like my Uncle Chris, bless his heart. When I see him, I just think of my Uncle Chris. But he's such a great chef, and his recipes are so simple. At least the ones he puts on Instagram are very simple.
Oh, absolutely. And he really brought it down to very, very easy for
Yeah.
everybody's cooking.
Yeah.
And I got to meet him actually here in Phoenix once, and we started chatting in French, and it was like he
Oh,
was
that's
talking
so
to his
cool.
daughter Claudine, and blah 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 blah. And the ladies at the store were looking. Florence Tyler was another one of my favorites.
Yeah,
I saw him grow really onto online.
yeah.
Giuliano Paggiali is another Italian one that I really enjoy him. He has really true to honest Italian recipes.
Nice.
Lydia Bastanovic, of course,
Yep.
but just more northern Italy. French recipe, there is a slew. I mean, I have La Rousse for me. That's my Bible. But so pretty much those ones.
Do you have a signature dish?
Oh, I steak au poivre.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
The steak au poivre,
You
I
just
make
gotta
that
teach me
often.
some of your sauces that go with it.
I would love to.
Yeah,
Actually,
that's one of my favorite dishes,
And
bar none.
French fries to go with it.
Yeah,
But
pommes
the French
frites.
pommes frites. Oh, yes, absolutely. Gratin dauphinois to go with it too. If you
Oh.
wanted to be a little bit more wintry,
Yep.
French fries for the rest of the year.
No, that's my favorite dish. That's probably one of my favorite dishes. Period.
Oh, I love it. And then
So-
coq au vin, of course, too. That's another
Yeah,
one.
so I need to
love.
learn that one. That one I've never tried. Okay, on your website you have your 10 kitchen commandments. I found this very, very interesting. Do you mind if we review and talk about these really quick?
Please go
Okay.
ahead.
My 10 kitchen commandments. Number 1, I shall use butter. Okay?
Yes.
Right? So I didn't pick on butter earlier, you notice. I kept butter off the conversation of things that are maybe good or not so good for us, but I love butter.
I do too.
Yeah. And then I shall use cream. Okay? That's another one. You like using cream.
I love used cream. I love the consistency of cream, and I love with cream.
What it does.
Oh, you can do everything. You can go from dessert to a steak au poivre
Yep.
to a chantilly. So
Yep.
it's amazing what you could do with it.
And then, with my wife, she's also dairy-free.
Out.
And so that gets tricky. But we've learned, things with different types of almond milk and forget the other one we've been using lately. And they're really pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not
I,
bad. We've adapted. So I shall use good wine in my cooking. Number 3.
Absolutely. I mean, if you drink it, you cook it. You
Okay.
don't go out and buy cheap wine. It's just
So you don't skimp out on the wine when you're
absolutely
cooking.
not. Oh no.
You don't have the box there with the funnel and
No, that doesn't exist. I don't drink much, but when I drink, I like a good
You-
bottle of
good
wine.
There you go. Number 4, I shall drink good wine with my dinner. Like, okay, you went right to number 4. You know these commandments pretty well. Life is way too short not to have a good wine, right?
Exactly. I'm sorry. We're here today. We don't know what in a minute from now where we are. So
No, I totally agree with that one. Number 5, I shall always look for the ultimate kitchen gadget, just because.
yes, just because I just every town I go to, if there is a kitchen store,
Yeah.
I go in it, and sure
Oh, no.
enough, everybody laughs because I either come out with maybe 2 cookbooks, and always a gadget. And
Yeah.
there's always some. I even have a cherry pitter for Pete's sake.
So I'm convinced my mom made Ronco rich. I think she's got every Ronco
Really?
kitchen device that was ever invented. She should open a Ronco museum.
Right.
But the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. I mean, when I go into Williams Sonoma, and every city we go to, we'll find the kitchen supplies store. And it's like, oh my God, look at this. I don't have this. This is so cool. So I know exactly what you're talking
Oh
about.
yes, absolutely.
Okay, number 6. I shall use butter.
Yes.
Oh, it came back with butter again.
Of course it did.
That's funny. Number 7, I shall not worry about the fat content of my food. That's why we work out at the gym, right?
Exactly.
That's right. So number 8, I shall always have a small piece of chocolate a day.
I'm a chocoholic. I'm proud of it, and I eat chocolate every day since I can remember.
I like the way you roll here. Good butter, good chocolate, some cream, good wine.
Yes.
Okay, number 9, I shall always keep my friends' dietary needs in mind and make things for them. True friends are rare gems, so we need to treat them right and let them know that they are loved.
Absolutely. I have friends who have allergies to dairies. I have friends who have allergies to fish.
Gluten.
And gluten. So I always make sure then I have something for them and don't make a big fuss, and they just get the meal, and they know they can be part of the dinner, so they don't say, oh, no, I can't because.
Right. That's exactly right. Number 10, I shall use butter. Came back again.
Absolutely. I'm French.
You got to have the butter, right?
Butter makes everything taste good.
It sure does. It's fantastic.
Have you ever had a tartine of bread with butter on it? Oh, right?
It's fabulous. Okay, so we're excited to share. We will be having you in our Candelaria Design Kitchen for a virtual cooking class on February 5th, I guess is what it's set
I'm
up for.
totally excited about it.
So tell us what we're going to be making.
I'm going to make coquille Saint-Jacques,
Okay.
which is a very typical French meal, and it has scallops.
Ooh.
But it is with the wine mushroom scallop
That sounds
sauce.
fantastic.
So it's just, I'm excited to do it.
Well, then I'll have to maybe get you in for a repeat performance for the coq au vin.
Absolutely.
So what are some of your tips, lessons that you've learned as a blogger and as a cook and as a mother? You say you have a son, right?
I do have
That's
a son.
18, you said?
18. So
You're in those fun years.
actually, I count my blessing every
for
day.
you.
I'm thankful every day because my son has been, it's been fabulous
Good.
journey. He walks in, goes to his room, does his homework. I never had to say, do your homework. It's, I pick my battle with him. As a mother, you pick your battles.
Oh, yeah.
So
You don't win them all either.
You know what? I pick a few,
Yep.
and there is one of them that I never falter. Table manners.
There you
I don't
go.
care who you, what, nothing. Table manners is the number one on my list. How to stand at the table. I'm French in that aspect. I'm sorry. And so that's number one.
You know, that's another good show we could do.
Yes, table
It's
manners.
Table Matters.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Especially in this day and age. I mean, it's kind of a forgotten art.
They don't have no idea, and the
No,
phone
we
does
should do
not
that.
belong there.
We
yes,
should do that. That would be fun.
absolutely, absolutely. So I pick my battles with him, and sometimes, and I let him speak. I lived, but the mom was not like that, so I totally took the opposite approach and said, no, I'm gonna let him speak. Sometimes it hurts, but I know where he sits, where he stands, where everything goes on for him. As a blogger, I learned to be flexible. I learned then I can get my way. I learned that I have to expand, move, and it's a daily learning process.
Right.
You never stop learning, and you always have to be on top of what it's out there. So I
Right.
feel like at my age, I'm still out there knowing things that is happening, TikTok and this and that and the other. But it's quite fascinating. You're talking to our young kids, and they kind of look at you going, oh, great, you got gray hair, you got grandma little, like, ooh, grandma can do TikTok,
There
lady.
you go. I was going to ask you if you do TikTok.
You know, so it's kind of really fascinating. But it's just consistency. Don't let nobody sees all the work that goes in it. Nobody sees
Right.
then I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I put 16, 17, 18 hours a day. People see the other side, the fun side, the
Right.
good this.
They don't realize the work.
They don't realize all the work. But it, to me, is not work because I love what I do.
Right.
So I put
It's who you are. It's what you're doing. Yeah, I'm the same way.
exactly. So it's just, you don't see it that way. I mean, I know you wake up early in the morning because sometimes I see you drawing things and
Yep.
up light early. And what was the other one? A mother?
Lessons as a mother.
As a mother, Just let go.
Yeah.
Just let go. Just pick your battles.
And keep learning.
Keep learning. Just be open and be aware of what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
And don't be judgmental. Please
And
just
speaking
don't.
of judgmentalness, I mean, do you have that voice when you do something that says, oh my gosh, no one's going to care about this. Why am I doing this? Blah, blah, blah. Does that ever hit you?
It used to. And then I had a pivotal moment 10 years ago when I turned 50 and I went, why?
Yeah. Who cares?
Who cares? I'm not doing it for somebody else. I'm doing it for me.
Right.
And there is enough people that we are, 7 billion people on this earth.
Right.
There will be enough people who actually sees it a little bit how I do, who are interested in what I do. So why should I let one person disturb my whole day?
That's so good. That's so true. That's exactly right. And that's what it's like. People ask me, why do you do the blog? Why do you do this? Why do you do the podcast? Well, I enjoy it.
I enjoyed it.
I'm not doing it to get 4 billion followers. If I do, well, that's great. But that's not the reason I'm doing it.
Exactly. I mean, I'm the same way. I don't do it to have a recognition. I'm doing it because I love it. I have another blog too. It's a personal blog because I love to write. And I have strong opinions. As French we do. So I put them all out there.
That's good.
And that's on the other.
And you don't worry about it.
I don't worry about it because I know that people are going to read that. Are people who are going to be, oh. And then, something a little controversial, but I don't care. It's like, hey, it's me.
Right.
It's who I am.
That's exactly right. So you love to travel, you said.
I adore traveling.
And we are both missing traveling right now.
Absolutely.
I haven't been to Italy since 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, Isabel and I must talk about it every day. When are we going? When are we going? Let's just go. Let's just go. And it's like, you hear the new variant now. It's like, it just never ends.
It will end. And I mean, it's... yes, I love to travel. I miss traveling, and I am going to go back to travel. I have to go to India. I probably will do that in the beginning of the year. I have already.
Now, why India?
I'm helping my husband to set up the company over there.
Wow,
so
that's cool.
Yeah, it's exciting, and I'm just I'm enjoying traveling. Actually, if I could spend literally a month in Asia, like the Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, I would do it. I think the longest I've ever been on vacation was 8 weeks, and I was not ready to come home.
Wow. You're amazing.
Like I said, we did around the world on the Northern Hemisphere twice. It's
amazing.
It's really fascinating. And
so what are your favorite places?
Thailand is one of my favorite places. I mean, I love Europe, of course.
Right.
Prague.
Yeah, everyone says Prague.
Prague is to die
I need
for.
to go. I've never been.
Well, because it was never destroyed during the war and is intact, gorgeous, the plaza. I mean, and it's safe.
Wow.
It feels so safe. It's unbelievable. Love Germany. I mean, obviously, I love Europe.
Yep.
I actually went to one of my I have bucket list from here to the moon and back. Okay, the Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
So I was surprised a couple of years back. They took my husband, my son said, "Okay, we're going to the Taj Mahal," and I sat there and I started crying. There was a connection to that place.
I saw your pictures on the blog.
It was amazing because I connected with that place, which is really odd because I mean you would never think of it.
Right.
I adore Thailand. I was down. We were in Phuket where we had a typhoon, and I was lounging on a chair, and I could see the sky just going crazy right above me, and there was between the sky and me there was this cushion of nothing, of peacefulness. So love Thailand. I could be there.
You sound like a real spiritual person.
I'm very spiritual, extremely spiritual. It's very personal.
Yeah.
I'm very spiritual. I do my prayers every morning. I do my thankfulness prayers every morning. I do that. But yes, I do. I have.
Do you believe in past lives?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I can sense that in you.
I do believe in.
Especially when you travel, you see things and you go, I've been here before. I mean, that's how Spain is for me. And obviously my ancestry traces back there. Wow. And so when I go there, it's like my DNA recognizes it.
When I go back to Paris, I'm not a history buff in any way, form, or shape. My dad was. My dad, you can open a book and go poof, and you knew exactly what was going on from that point forward. Me, well, I mixed a republic with a king, so it was not my thing. But I could be in Paris and I feel the grounded. It's like all of a sudden my whole body feels completely aligned with the earth.
Yeah.
And I experienced that. I was, I think it's 2018. I was in Paris by myself for 5 whole days with the credit card and the magic word. We can ship it for you. So you can imagine the trouble I got myself into. But I got up early in the morning. 6:30 in the morning, I was out of my hotel, which the concierge looked at me going, Madame, you can't go out this early. It's too early. We can get your coffee down here. I was like, no, leave me alone. And I was me and my camera. And I stayed right at the opera, so I walk all the way down to La Concorde,
Yep.
across the Seine, went down to the Pont Alexandre, and I'm sitting there, and I met this gentleman who was taking pictures, and we were waiting for this couple to move the way so we can take some more pictures. And on my way there, I started crying because I really felt I am really home.
Yeah.
It was, and I've been gone for 14 years now.
Yep.
And I was really, really home. And then this gentleman was fantastic because he took me walking down the quay, and I'm sitting, I'm going to be killed, but I'm having a good time.
I'm going to enjoy every step of the way.
And he was a photographer. He was an architect.
Huh.
And he worked for the preservations of French historical building. And I just was like amazed.
So then when's the last time you were back there?
18.
Okay, so you haven't traveled. Have you traveled internationally since COVID or not?
Internationally, not domestic, yes.
Yeah, domestic, yes, for us
but
too.
internationally, no.
I know. I'm ready though.
Oh, I'm so ready.
So we've been talking about we've been doing our Candelaria Italy tours for 20 years. We've done our 4th Spain tour. We want to add a France tour. So I can't think of a better person than maybe us kind of gearing up together on something like this and making it a combination tour.
Well, I have to tell you, Mark, when you were mentioning that, I was like, yes. My body was just going up and down and sideways.
That'd be fun.
I would love to. I would be excited.
So what we've been talking about is we start the tour with, it's a 2-week tour. We'd start 3 days in Paris.
Absolutely.
Which I know is not enough time, but we give everybody a taste. So we do kind of a macro of Paris, stay in a fabulous hotel. And then what we want to do, just like our Italy tour, we want to get everyone out to the countryside.
Absolutely.
And spend a week in the countryside and have a chef. We'd have you, whatever, bring on another chef. I mean, however we want to do it. Tour around, vineyards, cooking, sightseeing, but just in the country experience.
Absolutely.
And then we wanted to take the tube across and spend 3 days in London.
Ooh.
Finish it in London.
Well, we're going to have to discuss about this. We can start in the south and go to Paris and go north.
We are wide open.
Or do it backwards.
And we could keep it just France.
We could keep it France, but that'd be fun to do that because it's the Uberboat, you mean, right?
Yeah. Just go across and finish in London for 3 nights.
Oh, absolutely. Fly home.
So it's a 2-week trip.
Well, I'm all for it.
Okay, so we're thinking 2023 for that trip.
Perfect. We can start. Sounds fair for me.
Okay, we're doing it. That sounds awesome. So how do you enjoy your time outside the kitchen? What are some, do you cook to relax?
Actually, I do. I cook.
Or do you do something else to relax?
No, actually, this is kind of funny because people ask me, say, well, I cook for the blog, which is a little bit, I cook, that's our food that we're having. But of course, because it's for the blog, it looks a little different because I put it on the plate. However, because I have to take the pictures, sometimes it's cold. So I make 2 meals.
Yep.
So that for the blog and then the one for us. And I do actually cook for my family every night.
Wow,
We very seldomly go out to dinner. And if we do, it's a treat to one of our favorite spots. And then, but I love to read.
So what are some of your favorite spots?
Well, it used to be Raz. And my little Raz moved to Sedona now. So I'm going to have to go see him there. Tarbell, of course, is another one.
Yep.
I like to also go to Roca Accor because they have great sushi.
Yeah,
I
like
love that.
Sushi, huh?
I do love sushi. No, I was raised, you're familiar with Pescara. Pescara, there is a port. Boats coming up the port, opening all those conch and shells and so on, putting some lemon, the vegetable, listen to me, the fish still alive, putting lemon and eating
Just eat it.
Just eat it.
Yeah.
I love raw fish. I love that.
You're awesome.
So that I knit. I'm actually a knitter. I love photography.
Yep.
I love to write. I do gardening too. I have my own little veggie garden because I just enjoy
the fresh vegetables,
exactly, fresh herbs, mainly all my herbs because I'm tired of going out and buying herbs.
Yep.
And I love to garden because it's just very
takes your mind off everything.
Absolutely. I have even though I have an acre like everybody else, but I only use half of it, which is perfect. I enjoy Pilates too because because of the butter.
Yeah, gotta do something, right?
So that's what I do. But it's mainly traveling, just staying on my homebody. I love TV, but I watch very little, if none.
Yeah, I don't watch much. I might have it on the background, and that's about it.
I don't even have it in the background because it's irritating me sometimes.
I'll have the cooking channel on.
Yeah, I do too.
That's about it. And a little sports and then the market sometimes. But
Yes.
no, this has been fantastic. See, like I said, this is why I love doing podcasts, because I've learned so much about you today. And
Thank you.
I'm just like, okay, I want to spend more time with this lady.
Well,
We're
thank
going to
you.
do some tours. We're going to do some cooking classes. I want to just, you're awesome. And I
Well,
can't wait
thank
for you to
you.
meet Isabel. I mean, I think we'll just have a lot of fun. So
I think so too, and I'm very excited about cooking for you and with you on your own kitchen.
Yep.
So that's awesome. I have something exciting coming out in January, which I'm bursting at the seam to talk about. But
you can't talk about it yet.
No.
Okay, so we'll promote it in February when
So
we're
I'm
together
just,
in February.
I'm dying there. So it's, but I'm excited. So when you sent me that note, I was like, yes, absolutely, yes. Are you
Well,
kidding?
thank you so
I
much.
have admired your work for years.
Oh, thank you.
So it's just been more of an honor to me to be here.
Well, like
so
I
thank you.
find, cooking's a lot faster than architecture. That's why I love it.
Yes, it is, but the two works together because
They work
we
together.
create.
They're very similar, is what I
Yeah.
tell people. A great recipe and a great formula for a house, it's all very similar. It's just a slower way of doing it. Is all it is.
Absolutely.
But it's exactly the same.
But it's a canvas.
Yep, it's exactly the same. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Happy
Marcia.
holidays to
Happy
you.
holidays to you as well. Thank
and
you.
we'll be catching up here soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Giangi. That was so much fun, and I am so looking forward to some of our upcoming events and cooking shows we have in the works, and hopefully a Candelaria Townsend Tour de France. Okay, stay tuned as we have some fun podcasts in the works, including more podcasts with artists, chefs, realtors, and a couple MVPs, so stay tuned. Okay, I want to say a big thank you for all the subscribes and reviews. Please take 5 minutes to give us a review, and if you do, we will enter you in our drawing where you will receive free round-trip airfare for our Candelaria Design Spain or Italy tour. Seriously, you cannot lose here. So go right now and give us a rating and review along with a subscribe, and then email or direct message me that you did so that we will get your name in the hopper for this drawing. We do our best to inspire living in everything we do, from our podcast to our cooking classes to our tours, and of course with our Candelaria Design homes. Okay, have a great week, everyone. Let's stay safe, and let's all live our lives with love, compassion, grace, and positivity. See you next week. Because Inspiring Living is all about the people and the organizations that inspire us, we are excited to have Monogram Appliances as one of our sponsors. Anytime we do a new kitchen or a kitchen remodel, Monogram Appliances are what we recommend to our client. Their appliances are the definition of luxury, meticulously detailed using the finest materials and an ownership experience that is second to none. This is how Monogram is always thinking ahead and inspiring and elevating the kitchen experience. Because at Monogram, they don't just elevate one thing, they elevate everything. I want to say a big thank you to my good friends at Stockett Tile and Granite Company, where your project is our priority. I want to thank the Stockett team, along with so many others who contributed to the success of our fabulous demonstration kitchen in our new Candelaria Design office expansion. You will have to check out online our video cooking classes, and our kitchen is amazing. I've had the pleasure of working with the Stockett team for nearly 40 years on many spectacular projects, and trust me, they are the epitome of excellence when it comes to tile, marble, and granite work, bar none. Their skill and customer service is impeccable, and the bottom line is they are just good people. I have traveled with and dined with and just had good times, both personally and professionally, with Dave Stockett and his lovely wife, Becky, and they are the best. When it comes to your next tile and stone project, make sure Stockett Tile and Granite is a part of your team. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed our podcast. We encourage you to write a review, screenshot it, and share it with your friends. Please instant message it to me and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We thank you for listening, and we look forward to sharing more insights to inspiring living next week.